On the come up, better sit low. The product base, but it drip though. Pocket fat when the chips low. AlexOCrypto, fit the party like a disco. Fan base like my wallet, yo. Stay true to the digital. AlexOCrypto. 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 What you know about juice? Making them moves. Data flow casual, breaking the news. Revenue proof. A building portfolios taking well over exceptional gain. I'm trapping this game. So participation ain't a hard knock. I put in the work so you got knowledge. You ain't drawing with luck when you following us. The result is a pen full of fat pockets. Bada bang, that's an otter gang with an auto flame. With a lot of hate. Get about the lane. Ain't about the trade. Have another trader. Get another play. They playing God so pretentious. Drapes in these waters forbidden. Well indeed, that's a felony. Don't look at me, but it's TRB. Have you heard of TRB? I don't know. On the come up, better sit low. The product base, but it drip though. Pocket fat when the chips low. AlexOCrypto, fit the party like a disco. Fan base like my wallet, yo. Stay true to the digital. AlexOCrypto, on the come up, better sit low. The product base, but it drip though. Pocket fat when the chips low. AlexOCrypto, fit the party like a disco. Fan base like my wallet, yo. Stay true to the digital. AlexOCrypto. 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 AlexOCrypto.
Good morning. Good afternoon, everybody. What is going on? It's FOMC day. Otter gang. We went golfing, man. We went golfing. How we all doing? I got a big old jug of coffee. I shot pretty good today. Pretty happy. How's everybody doing? We're going to take some trades. Looking at a long right now, my God, we're coming into some data, whatever you want to call me. Just don't call me Lord Otter, King Beaver. What's going on, everybody? Good to see you. Hopefully you all survived this morning without me. I know you guys are more than capable. So good to see everybody in the chat. What's going on, everybody? Make sure you're saying good afternoon. I guess we're switching it up on you guys today, saying good afternoon, everybody. And hopefully everybody is out here ready to trade some FOMC, the last FOMC. I mean, the gang, last FOMC. I mean, we like to brag, but sometimes, you got to brag, right? So the last FOMC, we were 3 for 3 with the trades. I'm currently long right now. I don't know about you guys, but this thing looks like it's about to go bonkers. I don't know. You guys let me know. Let's jump into the charts, baby. We'll do a top down and we'll get ready to go. All right, so we are long right now. Buddy, let's go. Up $50 right now. Let's go. Just jumped into a little half a position size here. Looking like we're pushing up right now on the news. Let's go. Chair Powell. Okay, we're a little 35,000 position right now. Looking to move up to these highs here. Maybe we'll take a little bit off if we get up to the highs up in this thing. Then we'll look for a retest. We can re-enter and make some more money because, we always like to just make more money. Why would we not want to just keep on stacking them wins? So hopefully we can continue to push here. I mean, who else taking live trades with you guys on FOMC? Right? Go and talk to the other 500 people on the live streams and let's see them trade FOMC and see how well they do. That's what I want to know. I want to see them. I want them to go into the trenches with me. The holy hand grenade comes over the bunker, right? Do you jump on it for me? Or are you going to, look at that, take some more money off? Quick little $60 to start the stream. Come on, baby, fill that price up there. Come on, you know you want to. All right, that one's filled. We'll call it fill. Sometimes Bitunix, you got to refresh it, right? You got to refresh it, tell it which way to go. All right, see if it wants to continue here. We'll close that one out here. Okay, And we'll see if we want to continue. Want to continue to Valhalla. We got news coming out. News in 3 minutes. Okay, looks like we might get stopped out here if it does come back against us. Breakout, retest, continuation trade. Let's see if we do get it, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I know we just like popped the cherry really fast and, we're really here. But we got the beautiful data coming out. We're getting interest rate decision, which is going to be a nothing burger. We all know this, right? No cuts. No cuts. Okay, coming back in. Probably going to stop me out right now as we proceed. Thank you, everybody, for being here, smacking up those like buttons, hanging out here. Let's go to the live chat. Infinite Team TA with the 10, man. God bless you, bro. Thank you for being here, man. All right, stopped out there. Look to re-enter, everybody. Stopped out there. GG's already. 1 for 1. 1 for 1. A quick $80. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Man, I get excited. Don't you guys get excited on FOMC? I missed y'all. I missed y'all today. All right, coming back in here. Here comes the data in 2 minutes. We'll do top-down analysis. I know I haven't been here, so it's good to see you all in here. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We had a beautiful golf with, I don't typically take work off ever for golf. However, once a year we have the boys go out, lots of old time friends, and we go out and we hit the balls, and it's definitely a fun time, man. So definitely had a good round of golf. My buddy, he's got a very successful business, and he gets free tickets to this place. It's $300 a round. Okay, $300. They don't even shine your shoes when you get in. All right, $300 is wild times. So let's see how we do here. We're coming into the news data, and we'll see if there's an opportunity to buy or sell. We'll see what we get here, my friends. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Smacking up those like buttons, subscribing if you're new, and hanging out here. We're getting our interest rate decision as we speak. Coming in here, and then we're going to listen to Chair Power. All right, Chair Power. Imagine they cut 4%. Let's go, baby. 20 seconds, everybody. We got 150 people in here. Absolute filth, right, Darren? $300 a round, man. They don't even give you like balls to start to lose, They don't even give you balls to lose in the forest. They just let you go out there and lose your own balls. 170 people here. Here we go. Here comes the data. Up we go. Down we go. All right. Looks like we're pushing. And we're going to go, or are we not going to go? Little fake out here. Still waiting here. All right, 4.5. Coming in at 4.5. Okay, congratulations. You knew it. You guys are so smart. Continuation here. Breakout trade. Okay, nice push here for Bitcoin. We're going to mark out some levels. We're going to take some trades today. Be prepared as much as possible. Coming up into here, a nice push up. We currently were long. We just got stopped out of that in profits. So a nice quick long to start the stream. And hopefully we can find some as we proceed. Nice push up here for Bitcoin. Now, we did give these levels in advance this morning. This morning, you guys were in for a doozy. You got the sweep of the low, then a retest fake out, and then you got a rug, and then you guys got a big push up. Okay, these were the levels. Golden pocket rejection right now. Golden pocket rejection coming in. Where's VWAP? Let's take a look. Where's VWAP? Man, we should have been looking for the short there. Guys. All right, good rejection here. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for subscribing and hanging out. Okay, retest back down to the highs. I do like to break a momentum here in the push up. Let's see if we do get a continuation trade here. Possible long for continuation, but a little SFP. I also got to pull up Chair Powell so we can listen to his beautiful voice. I know how much you guys love his voice. It's always a good time. And we got some top-down analysis to do and make sure that we are prepared. Okay, VWAP slap. Possible continuation here. Just getting all set up here. Okay, you're chopping about around your pivots here. Do we got anything above us? Yeah, 106.5. Okay, target for the day. Oof, did you come down here? No, you still got a 100 and 1033 is also a target. Damn. Beautiful SFP here. V-shaped recovery coming back down, retesting the low here. Thank you everybody for being here. Let me just get a top down going on here so I'm prepared just like you guys are. We do have a little bit of time here. Getting a little rejection. Man, if you're waiting for that short, that was the one, man. Look at this thing rolling over, rugging everybody. Thank you everybody for being here. 190 people here. Look at that. Anybody take the short off the VWAP slap? My God, what a trade that would be. All right, now we got to look for the retrace back down into the lows here. Swing low to swing high. All right, golden pocket here. All right, do we got an order block in here? No, it's just straight down. Okay. Coming down a little fake out of the breakout, and back down we go. Okay, so get rid of that trend line. Get rid of this green box. We got this one. We got liquidity at the lows here that we're interested in as well. Okay. Pump and dump. My God, what a sweep. Anybody getting short off of that, let me know in the chat. Thank you everybody for being here. 30% drop coming. Oof. You know, he's gonna hang on. Anybody in the Discord have the link for the FOMC YouTube? I'd greatly appreciate that. It's normally Fox Business, no? Fox Business News, right? Yeah, I think Fox Business, right? This guy right here. Oh, look at the blue steel. Look at the blue steel, guys. Look at this. I gotta screenshot this, man. Sorry, Powell. Oh God, I'm gonna get in trouble. Blue steel, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, sorry for all you Oilers fans out there. Alex is gonna lose composure. All right, let's say good afternoon, everybody. Put some GAs in the chat. I do expect good afternoons. You guys didn't miss me that much. Okay. You guys didn't miss me that much. I get it. That's pretty mean. Curtis Hill, Ace Crypto, what's going on? HFG, Schwartz, Curtis Hill, good morning to you. Jedi Gaze, just covered. John Foster Crypto. Dusty, what's going on, man? Zena, good to see you as well. Milan, Gains for Life. JB, what's going on? Good to see you. Otter, gang. Paper Planes in the chat, what's going on? Coming down into our golden pocket right now as we speak. Okay, little 6.65 tap right now. Little 0.65 tap. 618.65 tap. Possible continuation up. Still waiting here. Nothing I like just yet. I want to be patient here. You can see we had a VWAP slap. Perfect slap coming back down. Creating a little order block in here. Coming to their 618. But it's not something I'm going to necessarily press buy on just yet. I definitely want to do top-down analysis before we get too carried away this morning. So this afternoon. See, I'm not even used to streaming this afternoon. Let's look at the 4, the 3, the 2, and the 1. So the 4-hour overextended with money flow crossing to the downside. Not that juicy, guys, this morning. This looks kind of bearish coming out here. So be aware of that. Let's see the 12-hour that printed today, this morning. Okay, double trigger wave. VWAP posturing to the upside. Not bad. Anchor trigger wave. We got the, yeah, this is money. Money's really bleeding out here. So this is quite the retracement here. You need to have a get-go kind of let's go kind of pushback here. Even though we do have a front run, okay? And what do I mean by front run? We do have stochastics right now changing color, which can be a front run to a bullish move. You can see how it's green. We could get that crossover and we could get that push to the upside, okay? So let's be aware of that. We're currently getting a doji engulfing candle right now. Whew. I'm always watching it on my other screen. Ooh-wee. Anybody buy that 618? Damn. I don't know if that's for me, guys. I don't know if that's for me. We'd have to be pretty aggressive here, getting long off of that. I'm not sure if I'm a fan. Not sure if I'm a fan of that. 3-minute doji engulfing. Yeah. We're going to leave that alone for now. Going into our 4 or 3 or 2 or 1. So our 4-hour money flow crossover to the downside. Bearish. Getting a little bit of bottoming structure here on the 3. The 2-hour actually, this is relatively good. We got higher lows. We got green money flow. Yeah, this is okay. Might need a little bit more down. The 1 hour. 1 hour says down as well. Just says a little bit more down today. 30-minute though is coming up. Okay, 30-minute. So we got conflicting. Great. Just what we want. Conflicting ideas here. VWAP crossover, money flow coming in, trigger wave. 30-minute could be the deciding factor right now. Considering we've just chopped sideways today, could definitely be what we're in for coming into the FOMC guy talking here. Chair Powell talking. So we have held, we did SFP the low here, so that gives us bullish divergence. Okay. Bullish divergence. Yeah. Okay. It's not bad. It's not bad. This is a clean rejection though off golden pocket. I think we'd be a bit more patient here. Let's let the dust settle. Let's find Chair Powell and what the heck he's going to say. And let's make sure we're saying good morning and good afternoon to everybody. Thank you for being here. Crypto Rob, Games for Life, Infinite Team TA. Thank you so much for the gifted memberships. Travis Michael, J-Mag, Crypto Pollo. It's been a while, man. How you been? Cluck, cluck, mofo. Good to see you, Ace, Bull Runner, 5-star, HFG, Acinda. What's going on? Good to see you as well. Hugo Star, good morning. Apulia, good morning to you. King Otter, Lord Beaver, that's the one. Thank you for using the proper pronouns when addressing me. Well, I guess the VWAP slap was the short. Jeez, that happened quick, guys. I wasn't ready. Anybody let me know what you're in. Are you guys in a long or are you in a short? We got 10 gifted membership. We got George Ortiz, man. You're a lurker. Let's go. Lurkers in the chat. Sean Werner, lurker. Northern Crypto, lurker. JP Moon, lurker. FS lurker. Username, what's going on, brother? Good to see you, man. Andrew Yurkovic, good to see you, man. Lurker. Venice, lurker. And Sheik Mohammed, another Mohammed, guys. We had 2 Mohammeds yesterday. We got another one now. Lurker. And Alex Gray, lurker. Thank you so much for the beautiful gifted memberships. No stop loss. No, we're just letting it go to the moon, man. Show me the money. Looks like we are rolling over right now, coming into chair pair. What's going on? Our Pink, Etsy, good morning to you. Good to see you. Darren does things. B-Rad. What's going on, Ondo Poncho? Crypto Surfer, my man. How's it going, bro? Good to see you in the chat. Hockey was sad, though. Yeah, hockey was brutal, man. McJesus did not show up last night. He definitely left his man skates in the locker room. He did not show up last night. He did not deserve to win that game. And their goalie was Swiss cheese. B Team Crypto, my brother. Good morning. Good afternoon. Lorelei, good to see you. Brave Dave. I can't say your name. What's going on, man? Good to see you. Gangs in the chat. Little Fish, Dex, what's going on? Rashad, Shy Owl, Jeanette, Wayne C. Let's go, baby. You guys are great. Paul Caruso, Infinite Team, thank you for being here. Alex Moto, Milan, Hugo Store, Delamonte. Good afternoon, my dude, and to the rest of the otters. Thank you for being here, man. Neff, good afternoon. Good to see you guys. Yeah, all we ask is you to say good afternoon. We here. DSV, good to see you, bro. Gains for Life, Django, good to see you as well. Hopefully that TRX is treating you better than it treats most people. Good afternoon, Otter Noises, JD, what's going on? Good to see you guys. Good to see you all in the chat. Let's see some otters in the chat. We're caught up to the chat. 200 people in here. Thank you for being here, supporting the channel. FOMC, baby. So we're going to pull up Chair Powell. We did a little bit of a top down. So the bias is the 30-minute looks good. We got a little hammer candle coming right now, but Money's trying to creep its way up. No trade just yet. A double bounce off the 618. A VWAP slap to the downside. This does look like it wants to push, but not exactly ready to press the buy button just yet. Okay, let's try to be a bit patient here as we proceed to give you what you need. We're here live every single day. Today in the afternoon, but typically we're live on market open. Okay, market open. You guys are brave. Let's just leave it at that. It's been a wildly juicy day. You guys had a nice bottoming structure at 9:30. Let's mark our orb from this morning. Yeah. So where are we here? We are here 9:15. So we got the bottom of our orb and the top of our orb. 9:30 candle, baby. Mark out that 9:30 candle. So you guys had a couple of plays this morning. Breakout of the orb, continuation. Right? Did you guys, anybody take the orb trade this morning? Breakout, continuation, retest of orb, continuation. Acceptance below the orb, rolling over right now. Look at that. Look at the orb. Breakout, retest. You guys get the breakout, retest of orb this morning? Put a 1 in the chat. Let me know. You guys definitely should have taken this. Okay, you had this one here. Acceptance back above the orb. Take that up. Yeah, a couple good trades this morning from orb. VWAP slap here. VWAP slap here. SFP here. This looks a little bit bullish coming into Chair Powell. We got 15 minutes. Looks like it wants to push. Holding orb. We could chop between this. That's a very, very aggressive candle this morning. Holy smokes. You guys all taking orb trades? Yeah, let's go, baby. Took it this morning. Nice planes. Good to see you. Darren as well. Good job, guys. Good job. Colin Crypto. T Fatty. T Fatta. Wayne C. I called you a fatty just now. Sorry, T Fatty. So it looks like we got chop going into this. Into this beautiful data, whatever you want to call. So what's the deal with trading FOMC? Me being a degen in the past, I used to love trading FOMC. So it means we got some skills trading it. What happens? You typically get 3 moves, okay? 3 moves. Always news events. Looks like Bitcoin's pushing right now. You get the false move, which was up before. Then you get the rug. Then you get the continuation of the move. Okay? So there's always 3 moves, right? We had 3 moves. We had up. We had the rug. What are we getting right now? The continuation of the move. Okay? Looks like a nice push here for Biddy. Let's see if it does want to continue up. Nice push getting above orb here. We could look for an orb candle close above and continuation trade. Just waiting right now. No trade. No entry for me just yet. Just trying to be patient here. We'll see what we get coming into Mr. Chair Pair. Okay? We got 14 minutes here. I think this is the right. Is this the, put a 1 in the chat. Is this the right place to watch this? I'm not a FOMC kind of extraordinaire. Maybe I should just check what Tom Crown is streaming. I know Tom Crown is the OG for doing this. Shout out to Tom Crown. We love Tom Crown.
Not good. It's not a bullish take.
Love Tom Crown. Look at this guy.
I don't
Absolute
see it yet.
Legend.
If you look at the BTC pair, really
him.
also not
I
showing
love this guy.
strength that you'd like to see. If this was showing a little bit
I've
more
met
strength,
Tom
maybe
Crown
I
in
could
real
be a
life now.
little more confident.
I like the look of this guy's face, man. It's really good. Really good. What's going on, Chalsey? Good to see you. Charts already told me what to do. Tom Crown is king. OG stream right here. Yeah, that's it, man. OG. OG's always, man. I do work with Tom Crown as well, so it's a great guy. Great guy. Hanging out. Have to get back to work. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you, Alex, for dropping by. CVO, what's going on, bro? Good to see you, my man. CVO trading, guys. What an absolute beautiful human. Gotta love CVO, man. Look at this beautiful man. Oh, so beautiful. When I grow up, I want to be just as beautiful as you. The Green Power Ranger, kicking ass, taking names. Go check out CVO. Make sure you subscribe to him. One of our amazing traders in the Discord. Always giving the setups and the signals and the ideas and crushing it, bro. So, up or down, everybody. Enough about missing me in the morning. We got to go up or down. This is the only stream where I like to go up or down. Chair Pow. Up or down. Nothing. Burger. Up or down, yeah? I think is this, so what I think is that we are in a range. It's very obvious, right? So if we're looking at this thing and we got 12 minutes till this guy starts opening his mouth and where we're looking and how we're looking to trade this, is like we are in a range. Clear as day, right? As long as we're within this range, we are looking to stay within this range. So what does that mean? As long as the lows hold around 100,000, we are still bullish, okay? We still remain bullish above this box, okay? So that means we trade within this box until we are proven otherwise, right? So very simply, if you pull your volume tool, you can see the big chunk of volumes. This is good. Why is this good? Because if we do head up, we do have a good level of support that we can get above. However, buy low, sell high, right? So we have to start closing above 106,000 in order to continue, okay? Now, what is good that we have seen is that we have defended 100,000 and we have defended this low, okay? We have defended the low, suggesting that we can still possibly look for a continuation to the upside, which is a good sign. However, if we start losing the range and we start closing below here, we are very easily coming back down to this range in here, which is right around $98,000. Why is $98,000 so important? Well, when we zoom out, we can see that we have the other massive, gigantic volume node above us. So we would come in and probably tap right here, which is around 98,000. Right? So that would be losing the range and rotating into the lower range, right? Within here. Okay? That was actually well drawn. So if this, then that. We are range bound 80% of the time, so we look to buy low and sell high. Very easy. So you could have done that today, especially in our Discord where, we give you the levels and the sell walls in advance. And I mean, we just gave you some very simple golden retracement key areas that you should have been looking for trades this morning. And a lot of you, I'm sure, did really well because you guys know what a reversal pattern looks like. You know what to look for when you're trading them. And you should have kicked butt and taken names, right? Okay, so we had levels down here. We had levels up here. And you just buy low and sell high. And it sounds easy. It's not easy. Okay, that's why we teach you in our Discord of what to look for, how to look for it, where we're looking to rotate to, what bottoming structure looks at, how to get better entries, how to protect your downside, where to put your stop loss, all that kind of stuff, which is, why the Discord's so popular because, everybody's just kicking butts, taking names and succeeding. So it's really a privilege to be amongst everybody, and working together and having an edge in this market and really kicking ass, okay? Which Discord channel you use for those sell wall signals? We have our own Discord. Arturus Krasaukus. Thank you for being here. Sorry I butchered your name. And there's lots of trades to be had. Right now we're chopping. Infinite Team is long, so we don't want to counter trade our friends. But first, what do we think that's going to come first? First will be the false move, in my opinion. So we'll get the fake out. We'll see which way it wants to go. But we could get a nothing burger, very much so. Okay, so it's not for us to decide. It's us to participate with good risk management, safely, soundly, Okay, making sure that we are. Thank you, Alex B. Fed Live is here as well. Okay. That would be a better one, wouldn't it? Okay, thank you, Alex B. I typically do not open stuff in the Discord, but I mean. Oh, we're already firing off here on this one. We'll keep this one. Let's get a sound check here and stuff. I think that's important. You can hear the chatter in the back. I just don't want Jerome Powell to come out here and blow your guys' earlobes. We'll put this on like a theater mode, and we'll minimize it. Okay, we got that. Can we? Yeah, we'll just do this and then this. I mean, we don't really care what he looks like, do we? They're setting up for the pan. You guys have audio over there? Jeez. Infinite Team TA, my man. God bless you, bro. Everybody subscribed to you here, man. Infinite Team TA, my brother. 20. Thank you so much, bro. Thank you for supporting the channel. CVO, my man. RD, Lurker, Sir J. James, Lurker, Paul Neal, Lurker. Now, I think Paul says good morning. Good to see you, Paul. Gennaro, Lurker. Billy Lurker, Batu Lurker, Vincent Lurker, B. Sleazy. I've seen you before. Good afternoon. Milos Lurker, Lotmo, Crypto, my man. Good morning, good afternoon. I don't take my words too heavy. I trade 10-second charts. There we go, man. I mean, I'm pretty quick in and out as well. The doctor, what's going on, Lil Juan? Good to see you. Eddie, good afternoon. Kelby, good afternoon. Chew Poppy, you a lurker, man. Chew Poppy. Oh, man. Jatin Singla, lurker. V-Sun, lurker. Joe Ruiz, lurker. Lino, a lurker. Lurker, lurkers. In the chat, man. J. Powell is sleeping with Pocahontas. Okay. I mean, who was your Disney crush? You know, you got Cinderella, you got Pocahontas, you got who else do you got? Snow White. Who else do you got? From the classic 90s Disneys. Who's the classic 90s Disney crush? I don't know. What's going on, Greek Fata? Good to see you. You know who was pretty sweet? Mulan. That was a good movie. Nice push here. Got volume picking up here.
Minutes before the news conference begins. When the news conference begins, the chair will make a brief opening statement and then take questions.
Looks like a good little push here. We do have continuation here, so a nice little continuation. See if we can get a higher high here. That would give us a little bit more incentive to possibly get long. Jason Hughes, good afternoon. Good to see you. J. Robs, what's going on? Ariel. Under the Sea. Jasmine. Yeah, Aladdin was under a spell. I put a spell on this. Brave Dave's into the Seven Dwarfs. The girl from Hercules. Who's Hercules' stupid brother, Infinite Team TA? His name is Ridiculous. Paper Planes is into those thick green chicks, just like his money. He's into Fiona. Which one? The ogre or the one that turns into the ogre? Paper Planes. Ogre version, right? Ogre form. Let's go. Jasmine all day. You're singing I Can Show You the World, right? Ariel. Okay. Alex, remember all those times you talk ish about the lifer, then send 100 super chat and think all is forgotten? Now we didn't forget biatch. Thanks, Cassius Clay. We didn't talk smack about lifer ever. So have a wonderful day, bro. Goodbye. Oh, man. Some people, man, they just need to relax a little bit. Because we never talked ish about lifer. I can't make money off of drawing pennants. He can. Congratulations. I don't draw flags. That's it, man. That's the same thing, man. Gotta be the green one. Mini Moose, let's go. Gaseous Clay. He called me out on Lifer's stream. How can he call me out on Lifer's stream? I haven't done anything to Lifer. He doesn't even... I talk to Sam anyways. Sam and I are friends, so... HRJ with the 50, my man. God bless you, bro. HRJ is one of the traders in our Discord. God bless you. HRJ with the 50 memberships. My brother, bro. Thank you so much. We had HRJ start, in our Discord, and he's become family. Given amazing trade setups, great charts. One of the 5 traders in our Discord, giving you guys setups all throughout the times. Massive profits, massive TPs, hitting double TPs, 30% trades, like incredible. Thank you for being part of the gang, HRJ. God bless you, bro. Do appreciate the 50, man. Crunk, what's going on? Jeanette. Jeezy, EA Adventure, Trey, the Corp Way. Lurker, not Lurker, Sam Lurker, Zach Lurker. My God. Andy, what's going on, bro? Good to see you, Mr. Andy Bitcoin Census. If you guys aren't following Andy, you better. What's going on, brother? Good to see you. Elliot Wave Theory, Fibonacci, smart man. Go and check him out. Thank you for dropping by, Andy. God bless you, bro. BSM, good morning, good afternoon. Oh man, Lurker's in the chat. Is he coming up now? All right.
Good afternoon.
One's in
My
the chat if
colleagues and I
chat's
remain
okay.
squarely focused on achieving our dual mandate goals of maximum employment
One's in the chat if
and
volume's
stable
okay.
prices for the benefit of the American people. Despite elevated uncertainty, the economy is in a solid position.
Okay.
The unemployment rate remains low, and the labor market is at or near maximum employment. Inflation has come down a great deal, but has been running somewhat above our 2% longer run objective. In support of our goals, today the Federal Open Market Committee decided
bullish.
to leave our policy interest rate unchanged. We believe that the current stance of monetary policy leaves us well positioned to respond in a timely way to potential economic developments. I'll have more to say about monetary policy after briefly reviewing economic developments.
Okay.
Following growth of 2.5% last year, GDP was reported to have edged down in the first quarter, reflecting swings in net exports that were driven by businesses bringing in imports ahead of potential tariffs.
He's into edging.
This unusual swing has complicated GDP measurement. Private domestic final purchases, or PDFP, as we call them, which excludes net exports, inventory investment, and
Considering
government
along
spending,
here, guys.
grew at a solid 2.5% rate. Within PDFP, growth of consumer spending moderated, while investment in equipment and intangibles rebounded from weakness in the fourth quarter. Surveys of households and businesses, however, report a decline in sentiment over recent months.
Nice
and
push.
elevated uncertainty about the economic outlook, largely reflecting trade policy concerns. It remains to be seen how these developments might affect future spending and investment.
Still waiting.
In our summary of economic projections, the median participant projects GDP
Nice
to
push
rise
here.
1.4% this year and 1.6% next year, somewhat slower than projected in March. In the labor market, conditions have remained solid. Payroll job gains averaged 135,000 per month over the past 3 months. The unemployment rate at 4.2% remains low and has stayed in a narrow range for the past year. Wage growth has continued to moderate while still outpacing inflation.
Coming
Overall,
into
a
VWAP
wide set of
here,
indicators suggest that
retracement
conditions
level,
in the labor
not
market
somewhere
are
where we
broadly
want to long
imbalanced
just yet.
and consistent with maximum employment. The labor market is not a source of significant inflationary pressures. The median projection for the unemployment rate in the SEP is 4.5% at the end of this year and next, a bit higher than projected in March. Inflation has eased significantly from its highs in mid-2022, but remains somewhat elevated relative to our 2% longer run goal. Estimates based on the Consumer Price Index and other data indicate that total PCE prices rose 2.3% over the 12 months ending in May, and that, excluding the volatile food and energy categories, core PCE prices rose 2.6%. Near-term measures of inflation expectations have moved up over recent months, as reflected in both market and survey-based measures. Respondents to surveys of consumers, businesses, and professional forecasters point to tariffs as the driving factor. Beyond the next year or so, however, most measures of longer-term expectations remain consistent with our 2%
Nice push
inflation
here.
goal.
Anybody long?
The median projection in the SEP for total PCE inflation this year is 3%, somewhat higher than projected in March. The median inflation projection falls to 2.4% in 2026 and 2.1% in 2027. Our monetary policy actions are guided by our dual mandate to promote maximum employment and stable prices for the American people. At today's meeting, the
Good work,
committee decided
everybody.
to maintain the target range for the federal funds rate at
I'm looking for a
4.25%
retest of the
to
highs here.
4.5% and to continue reducing the size of our balance sheet.
Size matters.
We will continue to determine the appropriate stance of monetary policy based on the incoming data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks. Changes to trade, immigration, fiscal, and regulatory policies continue to evolve, and their effects on the economy remain uncertain. The effects of tariffs will depend, among other things, on the
VWAP
ultimate
slap.
level. Expectations of that level, and thus of the related economic effects, reached a peak in April and have since declined. Even so, increases
back
in
in.
tariffs this year are likely to push up prices and weigh on economic activity. The effects on inflation could be short-lived,
Jeez.
reflecting a one-time shift in the price level.
Good
It's also
slap.
possible that the inflationary effects could instead be
Good
more
slap. Double
persistent.
top.
Avoiding that outcome will depend on the size of the tariff effects, on how long it takes for them to pass through fully into prices, and ultimately on keeping longer-term inflation expectations well
Double
anchored.
slap.
Our obligation is to keep longer-term inflation expectations well anchored and to prevent a one-time increase in the price level from becoming an
Considering
ongoing
a long
inflation
here?
problem. As we act to meet that obligation, we will balance our maximum employment
Not
and
yet.
price stability mandates, keeping in mind that without price stability,
Not
we
yet.
cannot achieve the
Still
long
waiting.
periods of strong labor market conditions that benefit all Americans. We may find ourselves in the challenging scenario in which
Pesky
our
view
dual
up.
mandate goals are in tension. If that were to occur, we would consider how far the economy is from each goal and the potentially different time horizons over which those respective
I don't like
gaps
this candle.
would be anticipated to close. For the time being, we are well positioned to wait to learn more about the likely course of the economy before considering any adjustments to our policy stance. In our SEP, FOMC participants wrote down their individual assessments of an appropriate path for the federal
Good
funds rate
pushback here.
based on what each participant judges to be
I don't
most
like the
likely
exhaustion
scenario
in the
going
highs
forward.
right now.
The median projection projects
The exhaustion and the
median
highs
participant
suggest we
projects
come
that the
lower
appropriate
before we
level
go
of the
up.
federal funds rate will be 3.9% at the end of this year, the same as projected in March. The median projection declines to 3.6% at the end of next year and to 3.4% at the end of 2027, a little higher than the March projection. These individual forecasts are always subject to uncertainty, and And as I've noted, uncertainty is unusually elevated. And of course, these projections are not a committee plan or decision. At this meeting, the committee continued its discussions as part of our 5-year review of our monetary policy framework. We focused on issues related to assessing the risks and uncertainties that are relevant for monetary policy and the potential implications for policy strategy.
Yeah, they need to
and
cut, man.
communications.
I agree. John
Our review
Foster
includes
Crypto, I
outreach
definitely
and
agree,
public
bro.
events involving a wide range of parties, including Fed Listens events around the country and a research conference that we held last month. We are open to new ideas and critical feedback, and we will take on board lessons of the last 5 years in determining our findings. We intend to wrap up any
Caution with the
modifications
longs
to
here,
our statement
everybody.
on longer-run goals and monetary policy strategy by late summer.
I'd like to
After
see
that,
this.
We will consider enhancements to our suite of
That's where we
communications
long,
tools,
okay?
including the SEP.
Double top.
The Fed has been assigned 2 goals for monetary policy: maximum employment.
Go down
and
to the
stable
1 minute
prices.
here. We still got
We
higher
remain
lows.
committed to supporting
this looks like
maximum
it's
employment,
ready to roll
bringing
over.
inflation sustainably to our 2% goal, and keeping longer-term inflation expectations well anchored. Our success in delivering on these goals matters to all Americans. We understand that our actions affect communities, families, and businesses across the country.
You're fired, Jerome.
Everything we do is in service to our public mission, and we at the Fed will do everything we can to achieve our maximum employment and price stability goals. Thank you. I look forward to your questions.
Kind of what you expect, you know, just
Thank you. Colby Smith with the New York Times. To what extent has the more limited impact from tariffs at this stage on inflation changed your view on what the ultimate economic fallout will be from these policies and the timing of when they will materialize in the data?
So we've had 3 months of favorable inflation readings since the high readings of January and February, and that's, of course, highly welcome news. Part of that just is that services, core services, both housing services and non-housing services, have really been grinding down toward levels that are consistent with 2% inflation. So that's the good news. We've had
my voice is coming slow.
goods
What does that
inflation just
mean?
moving up a bit, and of course we expect, as you point out, we do expect to see more of that over the course of the summer. It takes some time for tariffs to work their way through the chain of distribution to the end consumer. A good example of that would be goods being sold at retailers today may have been imported several months ago before tariffs were imposed. So we're beginning to see some effects, and we do expect to see more of them over coming months. We do also see price increases in some of the relevant categories, like personal
Pure
computers
chop,
and
guys.
audiovisual equipment and things
Pure
like
chop.
that are attributable to tariff increases. In addition, we look at surveys of businesses, and there are many of those, and you do see a range of things, but many
Nothing
companies do
burger.
expect to put all or some or all of the effect of tariffs through to the next person.
Thanks
in
for the
in
50
chain,
HRJ.
and ultimately to the consumer. Today, the amount of the amount of the tariff effects, the size of the tariff effects, their duration and the time it will take are all highly uncertain. So that is why we think the appropriate thing to do is to hold where we are as we learn more. And we think our policy stance is in a good place where we're well positioned to react to incoming developments.
So in terms of how we should interpret the rate cuts penciled into the SEP, is this reflecting that there's this expectation that underlying inflation will just stay well enough contained that allows the committee to eventually move ahead with those cuts? Or is it about responding to a deterioration in economic activity, let's say? I mean, how
Look
should
at the
we make sense of
NASDAQ.
forecast?
Whew,
So if you
that's
look at
nasty.
the forecast, you will see that people do generally expect inflation to move up and then to come back down.
50-50.
But
Symmetrical,
we can't
right?
just assume that. Of course, we don't know
50-50.
that. And our job is to make sure.
Garbage.
One of our jobs is to make sure
Dixie.
that a one-time increase in
Garbage.
inflation doesn't turn into an inflation problem. And that, again, that will depend on the size of the effects, how long it takes for them to come in, and ultimately on keeping inflation expectations anchored.
Bitcoin's starting to make a nice ascending
Hi,
triangle here.
Thanks, Chair Powell. Howard Schneider with Reuters.
We
If
could
you
get
look at
something like this.
The rate path starting in December to today. And
Very
adjust it
easily.
Over the full time horizon you've got there. You've taken about a quarter point per year out of your projected path, and you end at a higher rate at end 2027 than you would have in the prior forecast. Is that a result of a
Jeez,
sense that
infinite.
tariffs will lead to more persistent inflation? Is it a result of reassessments of where your short-term neutral rate is? Why are you on a slower path?
Infinite Team 50
So I
gifted
would focus
memberships.
most
My
on
guy.
on
God bless
nearer
you, bro.
term, I think as you get out to the later years.
God bless you, man.
It's hard for anybody to know where the economy is going. You didn't see people moving their longer term, estimate of the neutral rate, for example, at this meeting. So, and those things are probably slow moving. So I think if you look at what's happening here since March, this is since March, right? You see a little slower growth, just a tiny tick up, a 1/10 tick up in unemployment, and you see inflation moving up 0.3. And by the way, it was a similar move from the December SEP to the March. So that's what you see. You see the effects of tariffs. I think we learned in April, after the March meeting, that substantially higher tariffs.
You're late,
likely. And
Jerome.
then since then, the estimates of where the tariffs will be have actually moved back down, although still at an elevated level. So we're adapting in real time, and what you
No,
see
you're
is
not.
an accumulation of individual assessments.
You say in the statement that risks have diminished on that front, but the July 9th, drop dead date for all the Liberation Day tariffs is still out there and unresolved. You've got now exchange of missiles between two Middle East adversaries with a possible U.S. involvement. How can you justify saying that risks have diminished?
So what we said was that uncertainty uncertainty about the economic outlook has diminished but remains elevated. Many surveys say that. They do. So, and that's actually a line from the Teal book.
Fake out to the downside right now.
Remember to check that.
Maybe the world will be over.
No,
Infinite
but,
Team
if you think
TA,
about
thank
it,
you so much, bro.
Tariff uncertainty really peaked in April, and since then has come down, and that's really what that's just acknowledging. It's diminished, but still
Guys, make sure you
elevated.
subscribe.
That it's uncertainty. So I think that's an accurate statement.
Thank you. Chris Rugaber at Associated Press. There is an argument out there in favor of cutting rates more immediately. Inflation has continued to cool and is back at to roughly 2% despite the tariffs. And I guess I also wanted to ask about cracks in the job market with gross hiring slowing, concentrated in just a few industries. We've seen some housing data, including this morning, that has been pretty weak. Do you see any concerns that the economy is weakening and that is a reason to cut rates going forward?
So we do of course monitor all those things. I think if you look at the overall picture, what you're seeing is 4.2% unemployment and an economy that's growing at a rate hard to know given the unusual flows in the first quarter, but it appears to be 1.5%, 2%, maybe a little better than that. Sentiment has come up off of its very low levels. It's still depressed. So you can point to things. The housing market is a longer run problem and also a short run problem. I don't think it's indicative of, basically the situation is we have a longer run shortage of housing, and we also
Still
have
waiting
high
here?
rates right now. I think the best thing we can do for the housing market is to restore price stability in a sustainable way and create a strong labor market, and that's the best thing we can do for the housing market. You asked about the job market. Again, look at labor force participation, look at wages, look at job creation. They're all at healthy levels now. I would say you can see perhaps a very slow continued cooling, but nothing that's troubling at this time.
You're
But,
troubling
we watch
us,
it- we watch it
Jerome.
very,
You're gonna
very
need to
carefully.
cut,
So
man.
Overall, again, the current stance of monetary policy leaves us well positioned to respond in a timely way to economic developments, and for now.
That
and,
VWAP is
watching
nasty
the data
today,
carefully.
guys. Look how nasty
Just
that
quickly
VWAP
on,
is.
Given that there are concerns inflation will rise, but there is the alternate scenario that tariffs would create demand destruction and slow growth sufficiently, and that would perhaps keep a bit of a lid on inflation. Do you see odds of that scenario? What kind of odds do you see of that scenario coming true, and how many months of cool inflation would you need to see before concluding that maybe that lower inflation scenario is taking place?
So this is very much the conversation we had today and yesterday. There are many different scenarios, many combinations of scenarios where inflation does or doesn't prove out to be at the levels we think, and where the labor market does or
Down.
doesn't soften. And I think what you see people doing is looking ahead at a time of very high uncertainty and writing down what they think the most likely case is no one holds these rate paths with a great deal of conviction, and everyone would agree that they're all going to be data dependent, and that you can make a case for any of the rate paths, I think, that you see in the SEP. And, you know, we do this once a quarter. It's a hard thing to do particularly at this time. But it does reflect, you know, if you see somebody writing down, a rate path that involves cuts, that's them saying, yes, I think we will get to a place, more likely than not, where cuts will be appropriate. And it could be a joint probability of
A little
number of possible
overextended here on
outcomes.
Market Cipher,
Again,
suggestion
remember how
of
much
like a
uncertainty we
swing,
face, though.
a swing down. Cautious here with longs, everybody.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I wonder if you could describe for us some of those scenarios. How do you get to a place? I'm noticing that the uncertainty levels in your forecasts are very high. How do you get to a place where you have the confidence in the outlook for, say, inflation and/or growth or the unemployment rate? How many months does it take, and what do you want to see in the data to get to that level of confidence to actually reduce rates off the restrictive level?
So it's very, very hard to say when that will happen. We know that the time will come. It
No
could come
admin for
quickly.
anyone.
It could not
Rashad,
come
we have
quickly.
enough mods.
As long as the economy is solid, though, as long as we're seeing the kind of labor market that we
We
have,
got DDT and myself
decent
here.
growth,
No worries,
and
bro.
inflation moving down, we feel like
Moderate
the right
otters are
thing to do
few and far
is to
between.
be where we are, where our policy stance is, and just learn more. And in particular, we feel like we're going to learn a great deal more over the summer on tariffs. We hadn't expected them to show up much by now, and they haven't. And we will see whether, to the extent to which they do over coming months. And I think that's going to inform our thinking, for one thing. In addition, we'll see how the labor market progresses. So at some point, it will become clear. I can't tell you exactly when that will
It
be.
is a nighting.
And,
We do
you know,
a
meanwhile, we'll
full-on
be
nighting.
watching the labor market very carefully for signs of weakness and strength, and tariffs for signs of what's going to happen there. And of course, there are many developments ahead. You know, even in the near term, developments are expected on tariffs. So I think we don't yet know with any confidence where they will settle out. We have an estimate, and it's I think all estimates are now pretty close together, but it's again, highly uncertain.
When you say estimate of the impact of tariffs on the core PCE, is that what it is? And could you share that?
What you start with is what's the effective tariff rate overall, and people are
It's a full-on
managing
nighting.
that. But, you know, the pass-through of tariffs to consumer price inflation is a whole process that's very uncertain. You know, as you know, there are many parties in that chain. There's the manufacturer, the exporter, the importer, the retailer, and the consumer. And each one of those is going to be trying not to be the one to pay for the tariff. But together, they will all pay for it together, or maybe one party will pay it all. But that process is very hard to predict. And we haven't been through a situation like this, and I think we have to
Put
be
a one
humble
in the
about
chat
our
if this guy needs to
ability
go
forecast it.
and
So that's
sail
why we
off
need
into
to
the
see some actual
sunset.
data to make better decisions. We'd like to get some more data, and again, in the meantime, we can do that because the economy remains in solid condition.
Nick Tamarosa of the Wall Street Journal. Chair Powell, I guess I'm wondering if you could explain a little bit more the divergence we see in the dot plot, particularly around the 2025 rate projections. I realize this is, you have one group of officials that are putting down no cuts, another that are putting down more than one. And again, recognizing that could be difficult to summarize, but is it a matter of people having a different outlook or a different reaction function, a different commitment to defending against another inflation mistake? How did that play out over the last 2 days?
Could you go?
So you're right. This is often the case. We have a pretty healthy diversity of views on the committee. We did have strong support for today's decision and broad agreement that our policy stance does leave us in a good place. But I would point to two factors, and you mentioned them. The first is just that parties have a diversity of forecasts, and they do align with where their dots are. So if you have a higher inflation forecast, you're going to be less likely to be writing down, more cuts. But remember, as we see more data, we're going to learn more about where inflation is headed, and that means when it is time to look at resuming our normalization process, the differences
I think he likes and
should be
subscribes to
smaller because we'll have
AlexOCrypto.
seen actual data. Right now, it's just a forecast in a very foggy time. So that's the first part, is forecast. Secondly, people can look at the same data and they can evaluate the risks differently, as you know. And that includes, the risk of higher
There's
inflation.
that down
the risk
move
that
we were
it'll be
talking about.
persistent, the risk that the labor market.
Good
will weaken.
patience,
People are
everybody.
gonna have different assessments of
Losing
that
the
risk.
uptrending
So
momentum
you
here
put that in there
could be a
too.
possible short coming down here.
So
Could look for
those are
this
the
coming
two
back
ways
in.
that the two things I think
To
that
the
drive
lows.
these things. Remember though, with as I mentioned earlier, with uncertainty as elevated as it is, no one holds these rate paths with a lot of conviction. So that's really where it is. It's a function of those things, and I think as the data come in, you should see those differences diminish.
If I could follow up, you've said the policy is in a good place and that it's modestly restrictive. Given all the uncertainty you just talked about, tariff levels, uncertainty around the pass-through, is it price increases versus margin compression, some of the softness that Chris talked about in labor and housing, why wouldn't it be better
They just
to have
trapped
rates at a
longs
more
all in
neutral
here?
setting as the economy heads into this period of very high uncertainty?
So if you just look backward at the data, that's what you would say, but that's not, we have to be forward-looking.
VWAP wins.
And the thing that every forecaster, every outside forecaster, and the Fed is saying is that we expect a meaningful amount of inflation to arrive in coming months. And we have to take that into account. So I think a backward-looking look would lead you to a neutral stance, but we can't, we have to look at that, and because the economy is still solid, we can take the time to actually see what's going to happen. There's a range of possibilities on how
The
large
economy is
inflation
solid.
effects and the other effects that are going to
I've
be.
never
So
seen
we'll make
prices so
smarter and better
friggin' high in
decisions
my life,
if
man.
we just wait a couple of months or however long it takes to get a sense of
Economy is
of really
solid.
what is going to be the pass-through of inflation and what's going to be the effects on spending and on hiring and all those things.
Mr. McKee.
Michael McKee from Bloomberg Radio and Television. Your friend down at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue continues to lob insults in your direction.
Thanks, Dave,
And
for
I'm
being
wondering,
here, bro. Good to
given
see
now
you,
that the
Dave.
Supreme Court has maybe carved out the Fed from some of the legal implications of that, whether this is just noise that the markets and everybody should ignore until your
Coming down
term
to our
is up,
786 bounce level
or
right now.
whether you worry that it could lead to more pressure on confidence on Wall Street, on consumers, about the outlook for the economy.
Okay. From my standpoint, it's not complicated. What everyone on the FOMC wants is a good, solid American economy with strong labor market.
786
and
bounce
price
level right
stability.
here.
That's what we want. We think our policy is well positioned right now to deliver that and to be able to respond.
Good
in a
rug
timely
of
way as
everybody
the
getting
data
long in
moves.
here.
The economy's been resilient, and part of that is our stance. And again, we think we're
Considering
we're in
a long
good place
here?
on that, to respond to significant economic developments. That's what matters. That is what matters to us. Pretty much that's all that matters to us.
I need to ask, assuming you are not reappointed, would you stay on as governor when your term as chair ends?
I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about this.
Andrew.
I'd like to see a bounce here first.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
1 minute.
I guess with workplace raids increasing, picking up significantly, what kind of effect would that have on the labor market in
Sorry,
the short
with
term?
what picking up?
Workplace raids.
So you're asking immigration.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to speculate. One way to get at that from an economic standpoint, we of course don't comment on immigration policy. It's not ours to make or comment on. But what you see is an unemployment rate that has been really solid and at a low level, not really increasing. It's
Rolling
been
over here,
in a
coming
good
for the
range
lows.
and well within
No
the
bounce
range
off the
of
786,
mainstream
no
estimates
trade,
of maximum
everybody.
employment. And
Okay.
that means
Coming for the
part of that is
liquidity
that
at the
labor
lows.
demand and labor supply.
See if we bounce
are
first.
kind of moving down at the same rate. Labor demand is softening. You see that in job creation, but it's still kind of at a healthy level. And labor supply is diminishing because the immigration numbers that we see are much lower than they were. So those two factors, supply and demand, that's what has kept the unemployment rate in a reasonably stable place.
Okay, thanks.
Good
the
rug
other thing
here.
I wanted to follow up on is if you could elaborate on the potential changes to the SEP that you suggested were part of
Look
the
at the sweep
framework
the
review.
liquidity
I
at the
think-
lows now. Coming down to the
The
lows.
framework review really has two tracks, right? The first track is our policy framework that is reflected in the consensus statement. And we've said that we would finish that and announce it by the end of the summer. So we're well along in that process. We've had the meetings that we need to have, and we're now going to be going into, into discussions about, specific changes to language. So that's the framework part of it. The second part of it is our
SFP here,
communications
possibly?
tools and practices. Pardon me. And that
Damn, that
part
was a
comes
short,
next.
man. Should have taken that
That's what we're
short.
going to do in the meetings this fall. Actually, what we did at this meeting, though, is we sort of prepared the
coughed.
ground for that. We
Trade the coughs.
We had a meeting where we talked at a high level about a number of ideas. The SEP is part of it. Many other ideas. It's
Do the
sort of,
thing with the
how do we
nips.
think our communications can be improved? There are a number of ideas. People offered a really, it was a great conversation. Number of ideas, but we're going to look at those with staff briefing and a lot of thought.
Trade the coughs, guys.
In the
He's
fall,
coughing.
and I would say when it comes to changing communications,
It means bounce.
I would only do. I
Bounce.
would only support things really that only implement things that have very broad support, and also you want to be really careful because I think our communications are pretty well received. They're not broken, so more is not necessarily better, but better is better. So we're going to be looking at ways.
Better
to
is better.
To do things that will improve the clarity of what we do for the benefit of the public.
That means short.
Thanks, Chair Powell. Kelly O'Grady, CBS News. You're famously known as the guy that makes decision based on data instead of speculation. You've said today the inflation data is in a good place. We don't know how tariffs are going to impact prices going forward. That's uncertain. But I've got to go back to the last time that you cut rates in December, and there was still the what if of tariffs. So what made you feel comfortable cutting then when inflation was higher than where it is today?
Yeah.
And you didn't cut today.
Well,
Lots of coughs today.
The forecast for inflation in December was 2.5. Core PCE for 2025, the forecast was 2.5%, which was a good inflation forecast. I think what we've learned is that, and this was long before we had any idea of what the actual policies would be. We've learned that tariffs are going to be substantially larger than forecasters generally thought, and we don't. Our
103 is kind of I see that too, Darren. Looking down lower.
Other, well-resourced.
Zooming out a little bit here, guys. So if we're going to roll over,
particularly in April, was that
coming down for that SFP of the low here.
Tariffs were coming, and that would mean higher inflation. That's what happened, and so now you saw 2.5% forecast in December. You saw 2.8% in March, and you see 3.1% now. So it's 0.6 higher inflation for 2025, and that's a big part of the change. And that's
damn, Jerome,
that's due
you're
to
rugging
the
everybody
effects
today.
of the tariffs that are, we don't know where they're going to land, but it's pretty apparent they're going to land higher than outside forecasters were really guessing at the end of last year.
My follow-up to that, I think consumers, right, we're looking for relief on rates when it comes to mortgages, car loans, small businesses want to take
Thanks
out
for
more
the 10
manageable
Infinite
loans.
Team
When you
TA.
look at the
My
cumulative
man.
inflation
God
over
bless,
the
bro.
past 5 years, prices have risen over 20%. It's been a rough road. So what is the tipping point then for the wait and see approach in terms of how much it's
There's
going
that
to help
dip.
versus when it hurts
See if
the
it pops
American
back up
consumer?
right now. Possible long.
Well, I mean, we're trying to restore price. Best thing we can do for
Good
the
sweep.
public that
You
we
see all the
serve
sweep
is
in
restore
there?
price stability. If we can
we
and
push?
will restore
Gotta
price
push back
stability,
into
meaning
this range
2% inflation
for us to
on
get
a
long.
durable, sustainable basis. That
No
and also
trade.
maximum employment. If we restore those things, that's the best thing, and
Gotta
that is
push.
our goal. The best thing we can do for the American people, for
Push, Biddy.
households and businesses.
And take a little stab here, possibly. Wait, just waiting.
And they can make their decisions without having to think about inflation all the time. So in the meantime, we have to keep rates high to get inflation all the way down. They're not very
yet.
high. Let's
Not
be
there
honest. I would say policy
It's gotta
is
properly
modestly
bounce
or
here.
moderately, probably modestly now restrictive. If you look at the economy, it's not performing as though it were performing under very strict monetary policy, very restrictive monetary policy. So I
No
would say
trade.
probably modestly restrictive.
No trade.
And so what it will take
Still
is
waiting.
is
This needs to be
confidence that
bought up here.
inflation is coming down. Now, I would say
It's a good candle.
without tariffs, that confidence would be building because if you see what's happening with non-housing services and housing services, which are the other two big pieces of
Good push.
goods, those are coming down really nicely.
It's gotta
now.
go.
So I think we have to learn a little more about tariffs. I don't know.
No
I don't
long
know
yet.
what the right way for us to react will be. I think it's hard to know with any confidence how we should react until we see really the size of the effects.
Powell, you're a
Then we can
chooch,
start
bro.
to make a better judgment. So that's what we're doing, and I think we can take the time to do that because unemployment is 4.2%. wages are moving up. Real wages
Got
are
to
moving
engulf
up
here.
at a
3
healthy
minute
clip.
engulfing.
And inflation is, 2.3%.
Come on, baby,
headline
push.
inflation over a 12-month basis.
Might get
So
long here.
It's a good economy and a solid economy with decent growth.
It's got to go.
Thank you, Chair Powell.
NASDAQ
So
bouncing.
you're saying that
Possibility.
Uncertainty has come down. The economy is moving at a solid pace. Inflation has come down over the past 3 months. And this is all moving in the right direction. So are you indicating here that Americans should expect some sort of economic pain in the second half of the year?
I'm not saying that at all. From our standpoint, what I can say is that the U.S. economy is in solid shape. Inflation has come down. The unemployment rate remains at 4.2%. As I mentioned, real wages are moving up. It's a good job creation is at a healthy level. Unemployment, again, as I said, low. Labor
Push
force
Bitcoin.
participation in a good place. So, and what we're waiting for to reduce rates is to understand what will happen with really the tariff inflation. And there's a lot of uncertainty about that. Every forecaster you can name who is a professional forecaster with adequate resources and forecasts for a living is
Not
forecasting
Donald Trump, eh?
pretty significant. Everyone that I know is forecasting a meaningful increase in inflation.
Good SFP.
In coming months from tariffs because someone has to pay.
I
for the
took a little
tariffs.
long,
And it
small
would be
long,
someone in
everybody.
that chain that I mentioned between the manufacturer,
Look
the
for a
exporter,
continuation here.
the importer, the retailer.
Stop loss to entry
ultimately
already.
somebody putting it into a good of some kind, or just the consumer buying it.
See if we can push
And
here.
all through that chain.
Maybe we
people
get a
will be trying
V-shaped
not to be
recovery.
the ones who pick up the cost, but ultimately, the cost of the tariff has to be paid, and some of it will fall on the end consumer. We know that because that's what businesses say. That's what the data say from past. So we know
Not
that's
looking
coming,
too good, though.
and we just want to see a little bit of that before we make judgments prematurely.
And follow up on that. So
kind of
you spent
forcing
years
me.
though talking about how you're data dependent, and be a little more direct on this. Now you're making decisions looking forward. Doesn't the data you're seeing today indicate there should be a rate cut?
No, I mean, your monetary policy has to be forward-looking. That is elementary. You've got to be looking.
That
always
is
talk about
elementary. You see
the
that?
incoming data,
Put him in
the
his place,
evolving
Jerome.
outlook, and the balance of risks. That we say that over and over and over again, right? So it's always forward-looking. If you know,
I'd like to see a
at the
V-shaped
very
recovery
beginning of the
here, guys.
pandemic,
Bull div.
we cut rates to zero immediately. Nothing had happened. We just knew that it was going to be really bad, right? So we took very aggressive
Push, baby.
forward-looking because we knew things were going to be unusually difficult. So, of course, this is something we sort of know is coming. We just don't know the size of
More
it.
nipple
And
action.
again,
Here you go.
The economy seems to be
Push
in
it.
solid shape. So the labor market's
Push
not
it,
crying
Jerome.
out for a rate cut. Businesses, were in a bit of shock after April 2, but you see business sentiment. You talk to business people now. There's a very different feeling now that people are working their way through.
Oh yeah,
this,
it's working.
and they understand
It's
how they're
working.
going to go, and it
It's
feels
working,
much
guys.
more positive and constructive.
Push it, baby.
Than it did 3 months ago, let's say. So, again, we think that our current stance of monetary policy is in a good place.
Let's go. Let's go.
Thank you. Amara Mokway with Bloomberg. Chair Powell, in February, you told Congress that the Fed is, quote,
I'll take another hundo.
maybe not
Give me
overstaffed.
another hundo, please,
Then
Jerome.
in a memo to staff in May,
Another
announcing
hundo?
a deferred resignation program at the Fed, you said you wanted to ensure
Come
that the
on.
Fed was, quote,
Oop.
right-sized.
Whoop, whoop.
Those two statements
Come
appear to be
on.
at odds with one another. Could you explain what changed in the roughly
There we
3
go.
months between
Another
those
hundo.
statements that made you decide that
125
staff levels
bucks
at the Fed
realized,
should
everybody. Shout
I
out
don't
to
see
everybody
it
who
at
went
all
long there.
as intention. So I was asked, is the Fed overstaffed? And I said no. And I sort of
Put
said
a
it's
one in the
con-
chat if you
overworked,
got
but not
long.
Overstaffed. People do work extremely hard at the Fed, and I know they work hard at Bloomberg.
Got to reclaim that range,
So,
right? It's your
but we do.
decision.
We work hard, but I would say this.
Let's go,
So
baby.
We are careful stewards of public resources, and sometimes you need to show that. So there have been several.
Who
times
else
in our
trading this
history,
with you
modern
guys?
history,
Come on,
where
we
the Fed
kicking
has said,
ass?
you know what? We're going
We
to
kicking
do a
ass every
buyout.
day?
We're gonna show the
Let's
public.
go,
we're gonna
baby.
demonstrate that we are.
Let's go, baby.
Good stewards of public resources.
Otter
So
gang, gang,
we thought-
gang.
and I
GG's
thought
all around,
that
everybody.
this is a
GG's.
time when we can, we grow at about, our headcount has grown at about 1% a year.
I said if we
So
reclaim
over
the range,
course
we
of a
get
couple of
long.
years,
Very
we're
easy
doing
long.
A careful scrub of the
Bullish
board and all the
divergence,
reserve
reclaim
banks.
back
We're
in.
gonna find 10%
Nipple
of
power.
employees, who can do something else, where we can streamline our
Let's go,
operations,
everybody.
And we think we can get there in a couple of years.
Great
We
work,
think we can do
everybody.
that. And we think the this is without
Infinite
taking
Team, I
risk
want you to stop
to
super
carrying
chatting,
out our
and
critical
every super
missions.
chat that you
So this
spend,
is
buy
something you do
yourself
very
the same amount of
carefully,
Bitcoin for your
thoughtfully,
family, bro.
And you do it.
I love you,
again,
man.
Respecting that we have critical.
We'll
missions
always
to
shout
carry
you
out.
out here,
I've had
man.
experience, a lot of experience.
God bless you,
in
bro.
My prior careers, with headcount reductions and things like that, and this is how you do it professionally. You do it carefully, thoughtfully, with a lot of planning, and you do it over a period of time. And I think the Fed will be fine. I think no one will notice any decline in our ability to carry out our missions. And I think it's just us wanting to demonstrate to the public that we are actually good stewards of their resources.
Thank you, Infinite. That's awesome, bro.
We're effectively wiping out 10 years of headcount growth with this. So, I mean, we wanted to show that, that we're good
Don't they
stewards.
all, man? My whole family thought I was
on
crazy too.
reducing headcount going
I
so
backed
far.
up the
Are you on
truck,
track to
bought
meet the goal?
Bitcoin
We're
at
just at the very
20,000.
beginning. As you know, we're doing a
Backed
buyout
up the
program.
entire truck,
We're
bro,
gonna-
and they're
we're
like,
gonna
"What are
hit
you
that goal."
doing?"
I think many organizations
Look at
find
me
that
now.
they can do this. You don't want to do it every year or anything, but you can do it at intervals, and you wind up not
About 5
interfering with
Bitcoin
your
at
ability to
20K, man.
perform your jobs.
Changed my life.
Chair Powell, Claire Jones from the Financial Times. As you're no doubt aware, the Senate Finance
Can I buy the
Committee has
retest? I would not
tabled
buy the
its version
retest.
of the reconciliation bill this week, and I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about the tenor of the debate at the FOMC over the past few days on fiscal policy and the degree to which that influenced people's projections for 2026 and beyond. Thank you.
Yeah, so
She's
we
definitely
don't,
British.
we don't sit around and debate or really discuss. We take fiscal policy as fully exogenous. And,
Exogenous. That's a word.
So we actually, really didn't talk about the bill or the contents of it. It's still evolving. When it gets closer, it's.
NASDAQ died.
Remember, also we have a very, very large
NASDAQ
economy,
died.
and the effects will be at the margin.
We could be in trouble here,
and,
guys.
I
NASDAQ rolled
expect
over
that
quite
they may
aggressively
already be
here.
in, but they will be in by the
Careful
next meeting.
here.
We'll make an estimate, but it's not a major.
Make
thing.
sure you
It's
pay
nothing
yourselves.
That we discuss. It may have been mentioned a couple of times, but as something that's coming.
Dixie's
in.
ripping. Look
But
at the
I think
Dixie,
outcome
everybody.
is, we don't know.
This
the
is
outcome
bullish,
yet there, so
or
hard
this
to
is
be real
bearish.
specific.
Sorry, bearish. Careful here, everybody.
Thanks, Chair
S&P's
Powell. Neil
down.
with Axios. There have been some cutbacks in economic statistics collection in the last few weeks. Worries that long-running problems around
Careful.
funding and response rates
Careful here.
may be getting worse. How much is this concern on your radar? How much confidence do you have that the gauges
Maybe
you're watching to
Bitcoin
assess
front
the
ran
economy
it.
are reliable?
Maybe Bitcoin front ran it.
Two things. One, the data we get right now, we can do our jobs. I'm not concerned that we can't do our jobs. That's not the.
Maybe
that's not the
Bitcoin
point. The
front ran
point
that
really
dump,
is
but-
that we are starting to see, layoffs and important.
NASDAQ's
gatherers of
dying. Look at
data
this.
are saying
Look at
that
this.
They're having to cut back
Woo.
on the size of their surveys.
Bitcoin's
That's
holding
gonna
up.
lead to more volatility in the surveys.
Make sure you pay
I
yourself,
think we should
everybody.
take a step back and,
Make sure you
from our
pay yourself.
standpoint, and I think the standpoint of businesses and governments and everyone, having really good data on the state of the economy at any given time is a huge public good. It
Huge.
helps-
He just said
not
huge.
doesn't help the
He
Fed,
just
it
said
helps
huge.
the government, it helps
Everybody,
Congress,
he
it
just
helps
said
the
huge.
executive branch. More importantly, really, it helps businesses. They need to know what's going on in the economy. The United States has been a leader for many, many years.
Huge.
In this whole
Let's see some
project
huges
of
in the chat.
measuring and understanding what's happening in our very large and dynamic economy. And I hate to see.
Great trade,
I
everybody.
hate to see us
250 people in here,
cutting back on
130
that
likes. I
because,
think we can get more likes
it
in
is a
here. I'd
real
really
benefit
appreciate it,
to
guys.
The general public.
If
that
you wanna, if you
people
guys
in
definitely
all kinds of
wanna
jobs have the best possible
those likes.
understanding of
That's
what's
kinda
happening
rookie
in the
numbers. Let's
economy
go,
and-
baby.
And hence what's likely to happen. It's very hard to measure what's going
It's
on.
very
in the US
hard,
economy.
Jerome.
If you read, there was a book called, it's really remarkable how many things you need to understand to estimate U.S. GDP. Very, very difficult, and it's so important that we get it right. I just would say it's not a place to.
Django
I would
is
wanna
super
keep
hard to
investing in
measure,
that,
man.
For the
Always
good of the
measure
general public.
from the bottom down, like underneath and up. Don't measure from the top down. You lose like at least half an inch. Okay? Always measure
Hi, Victoria Guido
from
with
the
Politico.
bottom of the basin up.
So
As
you're
a carpenter,
conducting this monetary policy strategy.
you always want
framework
to pull
review.
this out here.
But next
You
year,
always
we're
wanna
supposed
measure
to have a new Fed chair.
if this is it.
And I'm wondering if that affects at all
If
the
this
way
is
that
it
you're
here,
approaching this.
right,
How do
this
you
is it right
ensure
here.
that this framework will actually be durable?
Not like this. Like this.
You know,
from underneath.
the framework goes back
Okay?
to the
Sometimes you
framework
can
document goes
push
back
it
to
a little bit lower
2012.
in between the legs.
And it's,
All right.
it's the committee's
So
document.
you all know?
It's not like we're going to invent a brand
Huge.
new way to do
It makes
things.
it
It's
huge.
been an evolving document, so it shouldn't depend on who the chair is at all. It should depend on what's happening in
That's
the
the
economy and
finan-
what the committee wants to
That's
do.
the
So,
non-financial advice that
it isn't
I'm
really
I'm willing
tied
to share with you guys
any
today.
particular chair. And you know, we used to renew it every year. Now we do it every 5 years. So, but I don't think anybody. I've never heard anyone raise this issue that, you know, a new chair might want to come in and go in a completely different direction. I really don't think that's right. But you know, that's not going to be up to me to decide.
Is that affecting at all you're consulting with?
It's always real here, Hugo. It's the one thing you always get here is full, real, transparent.
Thank you. Chair Powell,
That's it, man.
Matt Egan from CNN. Relatively low gas prices
More nipple play, we gotta
this
go up.
year have helped drive down
Nah, he's
inflation
done, man.
in
We
recent
ain't-
reports, but that trend is starting to reverse given the crisis in the Middle East.
You got double top right
How
now.
are
This
you
thing's
thinking
coming down.
about how the Israel-Iran conflict will impact the economy, especially inflation?
It's not huge enough,
and
man.
What lessons were learned during the 2022 period when another conflict, the Russia-Ukraine war, sent oil and gas prices skyrocketing?
So of course
Here
we're
comes
watching
1,000 more community
like
strikes.
everybody
I know I
else
had
is,
70,
what's going on.
man.
I really don't have
70
any
community
comment on that.
strikes.
You know, possible that we'll see.
Can't
higher
believe that, man.
Energy prices. What's tended to happen
Oof.
is when there's turmoil in the Middle
NASDAQ
East, you may see
bouncing.
a spike in
Let's go,
energy prices,
Bitcoin.
but
Rip it,
tends to come
baby.
down.
Let's
Those
go,
things
rip it,
don't
baby.
Generally
Nipple play.
tend to have
Nipple
lasting
play to the
effects
moon.
on inflation, although of course in the 1970s they famously did because you had a series of very, very large shocks. But we haven't seen anything like that now. The U.S. economy is far less dependent on foreign oil
To the moon.
than it was back in the 1970s. So, but there.
A quick follow-up. I've just got to ask you about artificial intelligence. Some technology executives have recently been warning that AI could wipe out a large chunk of entry-level jobs and significantly increase the unemployment rate. I'm wondering how concerned you are, if at all, about the threat that AI poses to employment.
So this is the question. The question really is, will AI be more augmenting labor?
Let's
or
go, baby.
replacing
Who took
labor?
the long?
And I wouldn't.
Let's
We
go.
all see those announcements.
Who took the
including
long?
one
The
today. I
gang,
wouldn't,
gang,
you know,
gang. Let's go,
overread,
baby. Send it to the moon.
a couple of data points because you know AI should be creating jobs. at the
Let's
same
go.
time.
Who's making money
Maybe
with
replacing,
AlexOCrypto?
maybe
Go
doing
and tell
both.
your friends. Tell your grandma.
Anyone who's done any work with it.
Come
with
on,
AI
baby.
will
Did you
have
miss
been a
me
little
this
bit
morning
stunned
or what?
At how capable it is.
Let's go,
And
baby.
It's just a different thing. So I think this is something that certainly has transformational potential. And probably we're in the very early stages of it. You know, they say what you're seeing now compared to what you'll see in 2 years is going to be very different.
That
and
nipple
more
play,
effective.
baby.
So
They
I
can't
think it's
beat the
really hard
nipple
to
play,
know.
man.
You know, of course, there are optimists who feel like it's going to make everybody much more.
More.
You know, much
Higher.
More,
Higher,
productive.
baby.
And there are those who think it's
Come
gonna
on, push
replace
it,
an awful
Bitcoin.
lot of jobs right across the income spectrum. You know, white collar, blue collar, and everything.
Otter
So
gang,
I just don't
gang,
know.
gang.
We don't have a house view on that, but this is going to be a very important question for some time.
Hey, guys. Great long. Great work. The gang's here, man. They should have known.
Thank you. Greg Rapp from MarketWatch.
Great read on the
I was wondering
short.
If you could step back a little bit, Chair Powell.
On the dump. We called the dump. We
there's
called the pump.
A spate of articles and a lot of op-eds.
We
now
ready,
in the
baby. We
newspapers
always ready
saying
here.
That the U.S. economy and the global
You can't fool
economy
us.
is going through this
GG's, everybody.
profound change, you know, akin to the end of the Bretton Woods era in the 1970s. And don't you
Too
owe
good,
the
man.
American people
Too
like,
good.
some sort of,
Congratulations on all your
explanation
gains,
for what
everybody.
we're going through?
I know you'd be
I mean,
crushing it. I
noticed
see
earlier
you all
this
out
month
here.
when You talked about Bretton Woods a little bit.
GG's,
You said that
GG's.
Bretton Woods, the Fed staff had to like change how the dollar movements for the dollar was impacting the economy. Are we going through something like that now? That you know, are
NASDAQ
you
big
having to change
recovery.
how you do
Push back
monetary
into the
policy?
range. That's good.
Is it that fundamental a change underway? Thanks.
It's certainly a time of real change. You know, from a geopolitical standpoint, from a trade standpoint.
Erythrium looking okay.
from an immigration standpoint, you see
This is the
not
buy
just
level
here,
for
but everywhere. So
buy
there's
level for
quite a lot
ETH right now.
going on. It doesn't change the way we do monetary policy in the near term. I mean, but and it doesn't change our objectives or what we need to do. And these things are not really our issues. They're really issues for elected governments. All of those issues are really for elected governments. But there's no question it's a time of real change, and very hard to see where that goes. Will it be? There have been many things written about how it's going to be a more inflationary time. That's possible. It's not guaranteed.
You got more in the tank or no?
AI could cut in the very other direction.
Need more nipple play.
AI could make people much more productive and push in the other direction. I don't know though. So, but you're right. But honestly, our focus.
I don't know how
is a
much
much
nipple
more
play I have in me,
practical one.
guys.
That is, how do we keep inflation low and employment high in the near term? That's really what we're about.
Mark.
It's a cough, guys. It's always the cough. Always trade the cough. When he coughs, he means it. It's like his signal to like his investors that pay, that give him the money on the side.
Growing amount of slack in the job market, including the softening in payrolls, the forecast of a modest rise in the unemployment rate, and the ability of workers to demand wage hikes or not in this environment where you have inflation surging.
You don't really see unemployment going up. You don't see increased slack, really. I mean, at the margin, remember, you're at 4.2% unemployment. That was, for many, many years, that was an extremely low level. It happens to have come up off of an even lower level as we came out of the pandemic.
Great work, everybody.
3.4%.
I'd say they'd send it down, possibly. Right now would be a retracement level from high to low here. All right, so we got 786 tap.
Level of natural
We're looking for a retracement back down.
I guess I wouldn't agree with that.
Okay.
Also, in terms of
786
wages,
tap.
Real wages after inflation.
So we got order block
have been
here.
moving up.
We're looking for a continuation trade.
Was consistent with 2%
Here's where we
inflation.
add
We're still
now.
moving up
Okay.
at a
So order
healthy
block.
clip, and I think much more consistent
Golden
with
pocket.
2% inflation given
If we're gonna add
a reasonable assessment of trend
off of our
productivity.
beautiful entry,
So it's a
would
pretty
be
good
over
labor
here.
market.
Okay, so now we
you're right,
wait.
the level of job creation has come down, but so has the supply of workers, the change in the supply, the new supply. So you've seen the unemployment rate remain pretty stable at 4.2. It's been as high as 4.3, but those are good numbers. So it's a pretty good labor market. There's a more concerning thing is there are not a lot of layoffs, but there are not a lot of job creation. The number, if you're out of work, it's hard to find a job, but very few people are being laid off at this point. So that's an equilibrium we watch very, very carefully, because if there were to be significant layoffs and the job finding rate were to remain this low,
All right, now we wait.
You would have an increase in unemployment fairly quickly. But that hasn't happened. It really hasn't happened. The U.S. economy has defied all kinds of forecasts for it to weaken, really, over the last 3 years. And it's been remarkable to see just again and again when people think it's going to weaken. Now, eventually it will, but we don't see signs of that now.
Go to Jean for the last question. Hi, Chair Powell. Jean Young with MNI Market News. There's been a lot of talk about cuts.
Yes, we are making
I wanted
lower
to
lows.
ask
Yeah.
you, why do you think there are no forecasts for rates to rise or
Saphir, even
to
though we've
stay
made
where they
lower
are
lows,
next
we
year,
have SFP.
given
So it
that,
means we've swept the liquidity of the
projection for
lows,
inflation is to
which
rise
is
to
good
3%,
bottoming
and
structure.
there's a lot of there's
Okay, we
some
got 3
skepticism
drives
over
down here,
whether,
and lower
those
high,
price hikes
lower
will be a
high,
one-time.
lower high. So
there are
we would
a number
look for
of
the
people on the
mitigation
committee
of the
who wrote
high,
down no
but
cuts this year,
because we
but
have
some cuts next year.
SFP'd
So,
into the lows
I
here,
think,
we can look, and we've
people
held this
writing
low
down
in
their
here.
most
Overall,
likely
this would
path,
tell
right?
me
They're
that
not
this
saying
is a
there's
higher
zero
low
possibility
continuation
of other things.
possibility
Really,
here.
really, it's
Okay?
think of it as the least unlikely path.
On a
in
higher term
situation
time
like
frame,
this
this
where
is
uncertainty very
continuation.
high.
And this is
I think
this is potential
again, people
bottoming
write- they
structure.
write down their
All we need
rate
is that
paths,
higher high,
and they do not have like a really
and
high
that higher
conviction that
low,
this is
and that's where
exactly
we look
what's gonna
to
happen over the
get
next 2
gig
years. No one
along
feels
if we
that
get
way
the
about their rate
opportunity.
path. They
Okay.
feel like, what am I going to write down? I mean, what would you write down? It's not easy to do that with confidence. So I would just say it that way. We don't rule things in or out. Certainly, a hike is not the base case.
Do you
At all.
guys
It's not
rule
something
things
people
in or
are
out, or
writing
do you
down.
just put it in
In
and
the
out?
meantime, we do the best we can with these forecasts, and I think they're representative of the different forecasts and different reaction functions.
Great
that
trade,
people on the
everybody.
committee have. So thank you very much. Thanks.
Thanks, Jerome. Mr. Nothing Burger, we're back to where we started. All right, we're back to where we started. So we got a chop. They trapped longs, right? So they trapped longs. They rugged them. SFP, reclaim, long trade up. Great job, everybody. Good winner, chicken dinner. We're up like I think we're up about $300 right now. $400. Yeah, let's go, baby. Yeah. Great job, everybody. So looking good so far. Coming back into the range. So let's shut this guy up over here. Okay, Mike Man here. Bye. All right, so there you have it. You know, monetary policy, all this stuff, nothing burger. Pretty much still within the range, okay? Still within the range, everybody. We look till tomorrow, right? So what would we look for here? This is a nice double bottom, like we just talked about. Did it SFP? No. Okay, so that's still on the table if we can sweep the lows. And then we're looking for higher highs and higher lows here. We haven't gotten that yet, so it doesn't mean we're out of the woods just yet. Just means that we need to be patient, okay? Let the price action tell you where it's going to go. It's obviously been a volatile day, so just be prepared. Is the stock market open tomorrow? I don't think it is. Is the stock market open tomorrow? No, it's not. It's not. I don't know what holiday it is. Okay? So this could lead to some chop, man. This could leave some chop. Okay? Which isn't always fun. Low volume, chop. Okay? What is Juneteenth holiday? Freedom Day. It's Freedom Day. Juneteenth. It's Juneteenth. Yeah. Major General Gordon Granger. Okay. End of slavery in Texas. And some good stuff there going on, right? Okay. All that good stuff going on over there. We'll be live tomorrow. It's been fun, guys. It's been fun. For me right now, no trade. I'd say just sit on your hands and wait for to see what happens here. Great little trade. I'll update the Discord later on this afternoon with the charts. And it's been a fun live stream, guys. My God. We survived. We took a great trade. What more can you ask for? Lots of fun, right? Thank you so much, everybody, for making this a great stream. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. We'll trade it as the open, and it might be slow. It might not be. We will hopefully find some trades tomorrow, but thank you guys for being here. God bless every single one of you guys. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.
On the come up, better sit low. The product base, but it drip though. Pocket fat when the chips low. AlexOCrypto, fit the party like a disco. Fan base like my wallet, yo. Stay true to the digital. AlexOCrypto. 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 What you know about juice? Making them moves. Data flow casual, breaking the news. Revenue proof of building portfolios, taking well over exceptional pain. I'm chopping this, so participation ain't a hard knock. I put in the work so you got knowledge. You ain't drawing with luck when you following us. The result is a pan full of fat pockets. Bada bang, that's an outer game with an auto flame. But a lot of hate. Get about the lane, ain't about the trade. Have another trade, get another play. They playing God so pretentious. Grapes in these waters forbidden. Well, indeed, that's a felony. Don't look at me for the TRB. Have you heard of TRB? I don't know. On the come up, better sit low. The product base, but it drip though. Crypto, fit the party like a disco. Fan base like my wallet, yo. Stay true to the digital. AlexO.